Hello. This is going to be sort of my opinions on on desktops versus laptops, laptops versus desktops, desktops versus laptops, laptops versus desktops. Like which is better, like a desktop or a laptop or a laptop or a desktop? You know, a desktop, which basically just means like a computer that you have to plug into a wall socket, like this. Into the wall socket there. Desktop versus laptop. Yep, so which is better? This is like going to be a video on this sort of topic. Desktops versus laptops, laptops versus desktops. This is what this is going to be about. Obviously, all of this is very personal and subjective. Like a desktop versus laptop. It depends on your situation, obviously, because if you're working somewhere that requires, I don't know, if we're going to talk about work, I don't know, but if we're just, maybe let's just talk, I don't know, if you're working somewhere where you need to like use very high-end equipment, I don't know, maybe a desktop, because you can fit all the most expensive graphics cards into a desktop and get the best CPU processors and blah blah blah, and you can make everything super powerful with a desktop. So if you're like working in like, I don't know, some type of I don't know, some type of industry that requires like that you have like very powerful computer hardware, I mean desktops could be very helpful and useful, blah blah blah. But you know, other than that, I mean, if we're just talking about like home uses, like using these types of things in your house, desktops versus laptops. Desktops, there's obviously they like desktops. The advantages of a desktop is that it's very versatile. It's very malleable and sort of versatile. I don't know about that, but it's very, you can tweak it. I mean, it depends on what desktop you have as well, and your like sort of expertise level in like in computers and stuff, and tinkering with computers and blah 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 blah. But typically a desktop, you can fiddle with it and stuff, and you can pull things out and put in more. And put in things that are more powerful and blah blah blah, stuff like this. Laptops are kind of fixed as they are. I don't know. Can you really fiddle and twinkle around with a laptop? Not really. The laptop just comes as it is. If you try and put in a different processor or something like that, everything's just gonna go haywire. Everything's just gonna get turn to shit. I don't know. It's not gonna be pretty if you try and fiddle with a laptop and you try and like put in like different processors and CPUs and blah blah blah. A laptop, you can only use it as it comes in the box. But with a desktop, a PC, very different. Obviously, it depends on what type of desktop PC you have. But typically, you can like tinker with it. Not twinkle, tinker with it. I'm messing my words up. Tinker with it. Like this one. Tinker with it. Tinker with it. You can add different components to it, replace parts very easily, get new power supplies, get new CPUs, new processors, new other components, new graphics cards, blah blah blah. You can tinker with desktops super easy to do that. If you have like some basic like understanding of computers, you can just open up your desktop PC and just tinker things up and make things better. I don't know, but with a laptop, it's fixed. It's not as versatile. It's not as malleable. It's not as yes, that's kind of like the downside to our laptops. They're not very malleable. What like you cannot like adjust everything, like the hardware. You can't you can't really change the hardware that much. But with like desktop PCs, you can do that. You can tinker with the hardware and blah blah blah, and you can add things in and take things out. That's like super. That's why desktops are sort of they're better in that type of way. But obviously laptops, there's like also like obviously that's the sort of the advantages with our desktops. They're very malleable. They're versatile. You can modify them very easily. You can like tinker with that desktop PCs very easily. There's no hindrance in that regard, because you can just easily find other types of parts on the internet or in some PC hardware store, and you can just easily like swap things out and put new things in and change things that might be broken and stuff. Desktops are very versatile and practical, and maybe not practical, I don't know about that, but very malleable and versatile and easy to tinker with because of the fact that desktops are typically like the components aren't like they're not super special. The components are just like sort of generic PC hardware parts that you could just kind of swap in and out with other types of PC hardware parts. I don't know, but with laptops, typically like laptops have very specific special processors and hardware. Laptops use very specific hardware and stuff and parts to build their to build like the hardware chassis and stuff like that, the motherboard and the CPU and stuff. All of that's very super special for. And like when you get a laptop, the laptop has like a very special processor inside of it. It's very hard to find something that might fit. But with desktop PCs, like like typically it's a lot easier to find like different types of CPUs. Obviously, there's still like you need to still match things, right? Like if you have like what is it sort of like a CPU board, I don't know, like a motherboard that only takes like AMD CPUs. I don't know. Obviously, that's gonna be, and you try and put like some sort of i7 something like that into a motherboard that only takes AMD CPUs. I don't know. It's not gonna be pretty. Yeah. So, but still, overall, like typically, like desktop PCs, you can tinker with them. They're more malleable, versatile, and that way they're easier to mess with and take things out and put new things in. Laptops, you can't really do that. Unless you're very experienced. Even if you're very experienced, it's gonna be still a pain in the ass to find like all the right components and parts, new things to put into your laptop if something goes wrong. So in that type of way, desktop PCs are a little bit better, but you know there's also downsides to desktop PCs, and there's also like a lot of benefits to laptops because desktop PCs are super. They consume a lot of energy. Notice the plug going into the wall socket. There we are. Desktop PCs consume quite a lot of energy. They consume a large chunk of electricity. You have to make sure your desktop PC is plugged in. Let's just say something like this happened to me a few days ago. Like my I have a key meter, like in the UK key meter and stuff like that. Blah blah blah. And the electricity is cut out and stuff because there wasn't enough credit in the key meter and stuff. Blah blah blah. I couldn't. There wasn't any electricity on in our house and stuff. And the desktop PC was completely useless. Everything just switched off and stuff. Blah blah blah. But you know, my laptop was still working as it should be. It was still working perfectly fine and stuff. So you can see in that type of way that you can see laptops as being a little bit more. Laptops are a little bit more practical than desktop PCs because laptops, they have their own type of battery. If like let's just say your power grid goes out or something happens to your electricity, you don't have any electricity coming into your house. Like if you have a laptop, it's not really a big deal because laptops, they have their own types of batteries. It's not. Let's just say you're doing something very important on your laptop. If the electricity cuts out, it's not a big deal. You can just because the battery is still going to be there, and you can just quickly save things and be careful about things and stuff like that. But with desktop PCs, you know, it's not the case. If you're doing something very important on your desktop PC and like the electrical grid cuts off, the power grid cuts off, everything, the electricity cuts off from your house and your home, and you're doing some super important work, your desktop PC, like you're just going to lose that super important work that you're doing. It's just going to get corrupted, or because your PC desktop quickly shut off because the power grid went out and stuff. You know, desktop PCs, they rely on the power grid a lot more than laptops. Obviously, laptops, the batteries, you have to keep your laptop charged up. Obviously, but still, let's just say that your power grid went out. Like your laptop still has a little bit of charge left, right? You can still use it. It's not just completely worthless. Like let's just say then, like compared to like a desktop PC, like again, if your power grid went out, if your power grid went out, if there was no electricity coming into your home, a desktop PC would be completely worthless. It would just be like a big chunk of metal, junk. It would be a big pile of junk, basically, sort of. And that's why, you know, in that type of way, like laptops, they're more practical because they're not. You don't need to rely on your on like too many external things like your power grid and electricity and stuff like this, your key meter and stuff, blah blah blah. Laptops, they're more practical in that type of way because you don't need to rely on external factors like the power grid going out or not, or something similar to this. Laptops, the laptop can still be utilized and stuff like that because of the battery that's inside of the laptop. But whereas a desktop PC, if the power grid went out, a desktop PC would be completely sort of worthless. Desktop PCs, they rely on like these types of external factors like the power grid and stuff like this, and electricity coming into your house. Laptops are kind of a little bit more better in that type of way because laptops do not rely on these sorts of external factors factors. If the electricity went out and there was no electricity coming into your home, you can still use your laptop in a perfectly adequate way. But still, laptops, in my opinion, laptops, desktops, depends on what type of laptop, what type of desktop, what type of laptop. Still though, in my opinion, a desktop is just so much more versatile, malleable. You can build like a more powerful desktop with fewer resources and money compared to like getting like a very expensive laptop. And so laptops are not very durable, like, because a desktop's like the parts and stuff are a lot bigger, probably not gonna burn out as quickly, you know what I mean? Compared to desktops, they have the parts, bigger parts. Typically, I don't know. Obviously, there's mini PCs, mini boards, mini stuff. There's different types of desktop PCs, different types of laptops. It's kind of obviously and stuff. So it's kind of being a dumbass trying to like paint things in like a very specific way. But typically desktops, bigger parts, easier to tinker with. You can swap things out if something breaks down. So in that type of way, desktops are sort of a little bit maybe better, perhaps, I don't know, but still, laptops are still a little bit more practical if you don't care about these sorts of things. If you don't really if you don't care about tinkering with your hardware or something like that, laptops are kind of sort of a little bit more practical. Plus, laptops don't really rely on too many external factors like the power grid compared to like your desktop PC. Your desktop PC relies on the power grid and electricity coming into your house. So I don't know. I don't really know. Desktops versus laptops. Still though, I believe your desktops versus laptops, because your desktop PC relies on like external factors like the power grid being turned on and electricity coming into your home and stuff like that. It's that's very I don't know. Whereas compared to your laptops are more practical. They're more practical because you don't really need to put like if the electricity cut off from your home, the power grid went out, something similar like that. Your laptop, you could still use it because of the battery inside of the back. But the same thing. If the power grid went out, your desktop PC computer thing would be junk. It would not. You would not be able to use it. But your laptop, you could still use it if the power grid went out, if the electricity stopped coming into your home. So I don't know, but still, there's different types of laptops, different types of desktops, different types of computer hardware, different types of desktops, different types of laptops, different types of all sorts of things. So it's kind of me being a dumbass trying to say that that is better than that, or that is better than that, because it's all like very it's so personal. It's very personal and up to the individual and your own personal needs and your circumstances and situation. Overall, though, I would say that I do feel like laptops are a lot more practical because you don't need to rely on too many external factors, like the power grid being on and the electricity coming into your home and stuff like this. You don't need to worry about this if you got a laptop. Really, obviously, you still because the electricity in the battery of your laptop, the battery in your laptop is going to burn out and die out and stuff. So, but still, perhaps maybe, but your laptop could you can still use it. You can still charge it somewhere else. Like you can go into like a local shop to charge up your laptop. I don't know if your power grid went out, but if your power grid went out and you had your desktop PC would just sort of be junk. So I don't know. Obviously, different types of computers, but typically, I believe that laptops are just a little bit more practical. Also, in terms of like power consumption, like desktops typically they do consume more electricity and stuff. Because look at this. You have to plug it into your wall socket in there. And that sucks in so much electricity. Yeah, so desktop PCs, they consume more electricity and they rely on external things like the power grid and stuff like that. So I believe, if you're just, obviously it depends on your needs and your personal situation and who you are and what you're doing with your life and stuff. But typically for most people, I believe laptops are perfectly adequate. I believe laptops are super practical. They're super practical, useful. they like if you just want to browse on the internet and not really do anything important and maybe write a few documents down and stuff like that, laptops should be working well for you. I don't know. Laptops should be working perfectly well for you. If you want to do something more advanced, I don't know, obviously desktop PCs, because you can fit more powerful hardware into a desktop PC. I don't know. It all depends on your personal situation. Both desktop PCs and laptops, they both have their own types of advantages. But I believe for most people, most people are not super like they don't do anything like that's very important. You know what I mean? They don't do anything that's important, anything that would require them to have like super powerful desktop PCs. Super powerful desktop PCs. Most people just do mundane, typical things like go on the internet and watch YouTube videos. So for most people, I do recommend you should get definitely a laptop. Get yourself a ThinkPad laptop, in my opinion. Not just any type of laptop. Most like laptops, there's like a bunch of different types of laptops you can buy. I believe ThinkPads are sold. They're decently priced. They're not like fucking. You don't have to spend £100,000 to buy a ThinkPad. It costs like a couple £100, and you can edit videos. You can use like Sony Vegas Pro. I use it. Sony Vegas Pro. My ThinkPad laptop works like a charm. No issues. Yeah, typically, I mean, most people are not like they don't do anything super important. Like most people are just sort of amateurs. They're just mundane. They do mundane things like go onto the internet to watch YouTube videos. So in my opinion, for most people, I recommend you get a laptop, because laptops are practical. If the electricity or power grid went out, you can still use your laptop. Whereas if you had a desktop PC, it would if your power grid went out, your desktop PC would just be junk. Also, laptops are also portable. You can take them places and stuff and use them in other environments. You're like with desktop PCs, you're stuck where you are. But with laptops, you can move around and stuff and go to different locations. In my opinion, most people don't do. Like, I believe the majority of us don't do anything important. And yeah, I believe most people should just get laptops. Get laptops. Laptops are. They don't consume as much electricity. They're sort of more efficient in that type of way, and they're more practical and stuff because you can take them to different places, and the battery and stuff. And if they don't rely on external laptops. If there are these types of external problems, like maybe your power grid goes out, you can still use your laptop perfectly fine. Not a big deal if the power grid went out in your area or something similar, or the electricity cut out. You can still use your laptop. You can still like browse around and stuff like that. Laptops. Obviously, it depends on like who you are and what your needs are and stuff like that. If you're a person that requires a great deal of computational power to accomplish your tasks and stuff like that, and your work and stuff, you do stuff that's like that requires a lot of computational power. You do stuff that requires like very like super powerful PC hardware. You do stuff that requires super powerful PC hardware, obviously. Then maybe perhaps get a desktop PC. But I believe most of us don't do anything that's super like that important. Like most of us we do mundane things like go onto the internet to watch YouTube videos. So most people, and maybe we like a lot of us just use like our any type of computer hardware to edit, like to use the video editors. Mostly a lot of us just use our PCs and computers and stuff and phones and laptops to go onto social media. So I believe most people should just get themselves a laptop. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. Most of us should just get laptops. If you're not doing anything super important, you should just get a laptop, man. Like super important in terms of like using your computer for something super important. If you're not like I don't know, maybe you might be some type of very advanced programmer or something, or something similar, or you're like a web designer. I don't know. You're doing like something that requires like so much computational power. Then maybe perhaps you should get yourself a desktop PC. I'll show you my baby a little bit more. But in my opinion, I believe most of us are just a lot of us just do typical mundane things like go onto the internet and watch YouTube videos, or a lot of us just use computers and stuff like that, PCs, phones, laptops, just to go onto the internet to watch YouTube videos or to use social media. So in my opinion, desktops versus laptops, I believe a lot of us should just use laptops. And by the way, if you're, I'll give you some type of brand recommendations. Laptops, you should, like a lot of you should probably be looking into ThinkPad laptops. Like maybe you're very new to like computers and PCs and laptops and stuff like this. If you want like a very decent laptop that's not too over the top, you don't need to spend like hundreds and thousands of pounds. You should get this type of laptop. You like, this is the type of laptop you need. You need to get yourself like a Lenovo ThinkPad laptop. ThinkPad works like a charm, not too expensive anyway. So desktops versus laptops. Desktops, they have their advantages and stuff, and you can tinker with them and manipulate them and modify parts and swap old parts and put new parts in and stuff like this. But like a lot of us, we don't need to have like super powerful desktop PCs. Maybe if you're a gamer, you might be into like having some type of very super powerful, expensive like a desktop PC. I don't know, maybe in that case, maybe you might need that. But like a lot of us, we just use, like I believe like a lot of us just use like our computers and phones and tablets and stuff like this just to go into the internet to watch YouTube videos and to use social media and stuff. So I believe like a lot of us would be better off with laptops. So yeah, if you're wondering desktops versus desktop PCs versus laptops, I believe like a lot of you would be just better off getting like laptops. ThinkPad laptops specifically. There's like so many different brands and stuff like that, but I would recommend ThinkPad, the company, and their laptops, the ThinkPad laptops. These types of laptops, not too expensive, works like a charm, super easy to use, and blah blah. Anyway, that's like a side tangent. Desktops versus laptops. Obviously, it's all personal and subjective and stuff. It depends on your needs, but I believe in a lot of cases, like a lot of you people watching this video, a lot of you are probably going to be better off just getting a laptop because it's more practical, more versatile. You don't need to rely on external factors, and laptops they don't consume as much electricity. It's just more practical and versatile in that type of way. So get yourself a laptop if you're wondering desktops versus laptops. If you're just a typical ordinary guy or girl, get yourself a laptop. If you have a very like if you require something more powerful for your work or something similar, then obviously get desktop PCs. Also, if you're a gamer, then you should get a desktop PC. I don't know, maybe to get like good FPS rates or something similar. I don't know, but for a lot of you, you'd just be better off getting a laptop, and that's it.